Now, there's a lot going on at Juventus. A lot of players that need to be sold. But a lot of internal finance issues that are holding up the process of selling these players. Now, let me try and dedicate 2 minutes to every single player, whether they deserve to leave, whether they deserve to stay, how well they've done, and why Juventus are struggling to sell them off. Now, for everything, if you're new, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Let's keep the channel growing. Let's grow this Juventus family. Now, let's start off with the main talking point. Koopmeiners versus Douglas Luiz. Now, we've already seen in the Club World Cup, Douglas Luiz comes on against the line. He does well. Koopmeiners comes on for both games and plays relatively shit, okay? Like, let's be honest. Let's not beat around the bush. Kind of shit, okay? But it's being reported Douglas Luiz is on the chopping board. Douglas Luiz is up for sale. Koopmeiners is an integral member of this squad. Juventus will go into next season with Koopmeiners being an integral piece to their squad, to their team. And I genuinely feel like maybe, just maybe, the long-term vision is actually to play him in midfield with somebody like Teun, with somebody like Locatelli. Even if Juventus were to go down the 3-5-2 path on the two-door, it would be a midfield three of Koopmeiners, Teun, Locatelli. Now, in my opinion, it's damage control. I'll be honest with you guys. In my opinion, it's damage control. Number one, Douglas Luiz is the highest paid player at Juventus. Sorry, the highest paid midfielder at Juventus. The second highest paid midfielder is Koopmeiners. Okay? And I feel like Juventus know deep down both of them have had equally as crap seasons last season. But the difference is Koopmeiners has been shocking. And in return, nobody wants him. Douglas Luiz has been shocking, unreliable, injured throughout the whole campaign. But I feel like there's 3-4 clubs in the Premier League, maybe 2-3 other clubs across Europe that would happily take a gamble on Douglas Luiz. Juventus at the moment, it's damage control. They're feeling, which player can we sell and recoup the majority of the money that we've spent on? If they were to put up Koopmeiners up for sale, even if they were to sell him, they make a 75-80 million loss. You sell Douglas Luiz, you make a 20-30 million pound loss. So in their eyes, it's all about trying to get back as much money as we've spent on these two players, on these two assets that haven't really done as well. And in my opinion, that's the main reason why Douglas Luiz is up for sale. Koopmeiners, like, let's think about it financially, from a financial standpoint. If your asset has plummeted all the way to the ground, if your asset is not in demand and nobody wants it, you don't forcefully sell it for a bargain price, because then you've made a massive loss. But if you've got an asset which isn't delivering the goods, which isn't performing to the way you expected it, but this asset is still in demand in the market, I'll be honest with you guys, it makes the most sense to sell that asset and retain and keep the asset where its stocks aren't as high. And I feel like Juventus are looking at it and also maybe thinking about it from the perspective of maybe, just maybe, next season, Koopmeiners would do better because he's more familiar with this area. Douglas Luiz, there is that big question mark of maybe, just maybe, the reason why he struggled is because he's from the Premier League. He's not too familiar with this area. We would rather take that gamble next season of going into it with Koopmeiners, who's more familiar with this area. He's shown what he can do in this area, rather than Douglas Luiz, who's never shown anything in this area because he's come from a foreign league. Do I agree with this thought process? And I'll be honest with you guys, as simple as it may sound, I just look at it like this. Douglas Luiz has been shocking, but there's a reason why 3-4 teams want him across the world. Koopmeiners has been shocking, and I reckon even teams in the Serie A wouldn't take a gamble on him. And from what we've seen in the Club World Cup, like with Koopmeiners, I feel like technically he's poor. I feel like physically he isn't the strongest. I feel like mentally last season he showed me he's very fragile, he's very weak. He can't handle the pressure of playing for Juventus. And don't get me wrong, some of these things also apply to Douglas Luiz. But the one thing that I know for a fact Douglas Luiz has in his locker book, Douglas Luiz technically is far superior to Koopmeiners. In my opinion, even mentally far superior to Koopmeiners. And physically, he's a good player. Like, I just hope and pray that Juventus actually look at it from the perspective of, why is there a player who was crap last season but clubs want him? But why is the other player who was crap last season, nobody wants him? Surely that means Douglas Luiz is a far better player in so many clubs' eyes across the world. And maybe, just maybe, we should keep him for that reason. Because in my opinion, if he was to be a consistent starter, yes, it might not be the smoothest at the start, but I feel like Douglas Luiz will definitely grow into it. Koopmeiners, we saw him be a starter last season. I believe he started like 12 games in a row on the Motta, on the left, on the right, deep, more advanced, and he didn't perform in any of them. But in my opinion, that's why Douglas Luiz is up for sale, and Koopmeiners is looking like he's staying. Now, the next one, the big elephant in the room, Dusan Vlahovic. Now, Dusan Vlahovic enters his final season at Juventus of his contract. Where the problem is, when Agnelli agreed a deal with Dusan Vlahovic with Fiorentina, the package was, once Dusan Vlahovic enters his final year of the contract, his salary per year goes from 10 to 12 million. Now, do I agree with this? Because a lot of clubs do it across the world. No, I've never ever agreed with a salary increase in a player's final season. I've always been of the mindset, listen, if you want to reward a player, just change their bonus incentives, okay? Just change their bonuses. In his final season, make his bonuses more achievable. Make his bonuses result in more money, because I feel like bonuses give players that kick up the arse. They give them that incentive to go out and perform. But with Dusan Vlahovic's case, he knows, I've stank out the season last season, but heading into my last year, I'm going to be rewarded. I'm going to be rewarded. I'm going to be compensated as if I've just gone out and won Juventus the Scudetto. Like, do you know how crazy that is? Just put yourself in Vlahovic's shoes. You were dog shit last season, yet you still go into your final game, you still go into your final season, and you're now being rewarded financially. And if I was to put myself in his shoes, why would he want to leave? Real talk, why would he want to leave? You have to bear in mind, players nowadays, all they care about is their pockets. And this is a very similar case to so many players across the world. And I feel like in the back of their heads, they know. Grind out the final 12 months. Earn my money, which, let's be real, I don't really deserve. But do you know what? Do you know how I benefit? One, I get paid for an entire year. Money I don't truly deserve. Money that I wouldn't get anywhere across the world. But two, once my contract comes to an end and I'm now a free agent, I can go and demand whatever I want, and I am guaranteed a signing on fee. Jonathan David is a prime example. You look at somebody like Jadon Sancho, his situation at Manchester United. He's got 12 more months left on a $350,000 per week contract. He knows, I don't have to play. I don't have to play. I can be exiled. You still have to pay me my money. And at the end of the year, I get to leave for free. The club doesn't benefit in any way financially. And I can still walk around, and any contract that I put pen to paper to, there's a signing on fee for myself. Players are selfish nowadays. And I'll be honest with you guys, as much as we can look at it from the player's perspective, you have to look at it from the club's perspective. Like, if I wanted to be objective and completely honest with you guys, why do clubs agree these deals with players? I understand at the time you want to try and convince them to come to your team. But I feel like there's so many other ways you can convince players besides putting them on this massive financial package, which, let's be real, every player is a gamble. Regardless of how well they've done, every player is a gamble. It's trial and error. They might live up to it, they might not. You have to always make sure the club financially, you are well taken care of, and you have that contingency to get yourself out of this dilemma. I look at Juventus and I tell myself, if Vlahovic refuses to go to Milan, and if he refuses to go to any club across the world, because it looks like he's demanding his 12 million. This is what you guys have promised me, and legally, I can stick around. And it doesn't matter if you don't play me. And the way I'm looking at it, Juventus will definitely play him because they're trying to get their money's worth. They're trying to get their money's worth. So in his eyes, whether I score you 0 goals or 20 goals, you will pay me my 12 million net. And at the end of the season, even if I was to leave, I'm going to get a ridiculous signing on fee. So all I really have to do is grind out 12 more months. And I'll be honest with you guys, this isn't the first or the last case of players doing this across the world. Like, just this summer, I could list you 5 players that are doing the exact same thing. And I feel like these are the things that are holding up Juventus when it comes to signing new players. The final player, Lloyd Kelly. I'll be honest with you guys, he's just not good. Like, he's just not good. He is definitely a player that I say, if Juventus were to sell him, just take the loss. Take the loss. He didn't cost much in the first place. 20 million, take the loss. A club will pay you 10 million for him. Take the 50% loss and go and get somebody else, because I haven't even been impressed with him in the Club World Cup. Like against Wydad Casablanca, Amrabat, Nordine Amrabat, who's like 38, 39 years old. It genuinely felt like he troubled him. I'm not a fan of him because I feel like as a centre-half, he's very, very, very passive. Maybe this is just my own opinion. I like centre-halves that are very aggressive. If you're going to be a passive centre-half, then your overall reading of the game has to be amazing. There's a lot of centre-halves across the world that are passive. But they're passive because they know I will be in the right place at the right time. I will put out this fire before it materializes into something. With Lloyd Kelly, I feel like he's very passive and his reading of the game isn't good. And that's why the majority of the times he's in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he doesn't really have that defensive acumen. Like he doesn't have that physicality to get back in time and recover. And I'll be honest with you guys, in the Club World Cup, he's had some good moments. Like sometimes when he goes bombing down the left-hand side, he puts a good cross into the box. But it's not good enough, I'll be honest with you guys. Like if Juventus go into next season and Lloyd Kelly is an actual starter, I would be very worried regardless of if Bremer is fully back fit and back to his best. You're actually going to be asking a lot from Bremer next season if Lloyd Kelly is his partner. He's definitely a player that I say, even if you were to get 10 million, 12 million from a Premier League club, just sign off on it and let him go. It's a chapter that comes to an end. He's not good enough. He hasn't shown he's good enough to even grow. He hasn't even shown he's good enough for you to be patient and stick around with him. But that's just my opinion on those 4 players. Now, if you're new, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Always let me know in the comments, and I will catch you guys on another one.